Hello, my name is Joe Robinson, and today we are talking about the history of the mattress industry. Spencer, what are you up to right now?
Hey Joe. Well, last week we spoke about, or last shoot, we spoke about the types of coils versus foam. And really, once you have a coil, you want to drop it into what we call a bucket here. And you put it down in here like this. And this is the base of the mattress. This is what we call the core. This foam encasement holds it all together, stuffs the coils in nice and tight. It gives you more support in the center. So that's what I was doing right here.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, you've told me this spiel, the history about the mattress industry, where it was in the 50s, how it started, and where it's come to today. Particularly what happened in the 80s and 90s with private equity. What's your take on the history of the mattress industry?
So I was introduced to the industry in 1986. I was 20 years old. And at the time, there were not mattress stores and showrooms. There were just furniture stores and some big department stores, Sears and Roebuck, and then your Levitt's furniture stores. And that's really the only places you could buy a mattress. So and they sold the brands. And when I mean brands, they were legacy brands. Simmons, Beautyrest, Sealy, Stearns & Foster, Serta. Those were the big family-owned mattress manufacturers that were national. And they have regional factories that supply regional areas because it's such a big product. So one factory just doesn't supply the whole country.
Right.
So when the family owned the company, when let's say this Simmons owns the company, they're building beds to last. Their name's on it. They have to sell to their family and friends and neighbors. They want to make sure that everyone's satisfied with their product. There was no internet. It was all word of mouth back in the day. Well, then private equity got into the industry and said, gee, this is a nice little business model. Good margins at the manufacturing level. Why don't we start collecting and buying these guys out? And that's exactly what happened. This was about in the early 90s. They started approaching all the factories and basically buying them all up.
And what was the immediate consequence of that?
Quality dropped probably 50%. And what I mean by quality is longevity, the bed lasting. It's called built-in obsolescence.
Built-in obsolescence. That's Spencer taught me this term.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it was planned, but it happened. And what they did was, at one time, one of the big CEOs came in from a private equity firm. He says, "Why don't we just make a mattress one-sided? That way, it won't last as long. It'll last half as long, and they'll come back and buy a mattress more frequently. And by the way, the consumer's going to love it because they're told they don't have to flip their mattress anymore," which was kind of a double-edged way of marketing and yet getting you to repurchase more frequently.
So I was familiar with what private equity is doing in the 80s because they didn't do it first with mattresses. They did it with other companies. They buy out these companies and they'd cut costs, and then they'd resell the company and make a ton of money. I had no idea they did that with the mattress industry.
Yeah.
And apparently that's exactly what they did. So,
They did. So,
yeah.
They're not, the quality's just not to the standards it used to be. There's
So how are your beds that you make here different than
So when I got in the industry in '86, don't forget I had a little retail store. So when we sold a mattress, say at Stearns & Foster, we pulled one out of the house. And in '86, they were still building good quality beds, but I got to see what was being built 30 years previously. And when they would come in and it would look perfectly fine, I'm thinking, why are you buying another mattress right now? Just to refresh. So it was more about refreshing than it was having anything wrong with their mattress. And what it was a lot of natural materials, your cottons, your wools. It wasn't all this fluffy foam that breaks down. And then there was processes that aren't done anymore. 8-way hand ties on their box springs. They would hand tie each coil so the coil wouldn't shift. That's not done anymore. It's a long process, takes a lot of time. Buttons that were on the beds, they used to have buttons that held all your natural filling materials together. And that would make that bed last a longer period of time.
You have a device back here.
We do. We have a tufting machine over here. It takes us an extra 2 hours to tuft the bed, Joe, but it's worth it. And so those we do on special requests for customers.
Very cool.
So it's
So if you're looking for a mattress that is high quality, uses materials that are high quality that will last, come to Spencer's Ventura Mattress. This guy makes the beds himself. We're actually in the warehouse factory right here in Ventura. There's also a retail store where you can try out the beds.
What I'd like to say, Joe, is don't be afraid to call in. If you call our store, it's 805-658-2866. You can ask for me, and they'll directly send you to my phone number over here at the factory. We're on building all day, and I'll help you with any questions you may have.
Or click the link. If you're on Facebook, click the link below and you'll see the number right there, and give us a call. We're happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks a
Appreciate
lot.
that.